Hello, good morning and welcome to News Desk. My name is Winston Taki. Coming up in this bulletin, opposition New Patriotic Party takes on Foreign Affairs Minister and Attorney General for insisting that the Memorandum of Understanding with the United States on deportation does not require parliamentary approval at this stage. Also, the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry to deploy permanent military base along water bodies to stop illegal miners. Also, we'll have new business as well. Also, Teachers and Educational Workers Union TEU of the TUC on strike today. The group is protesting government and employer institutions' persistent failure to address long-standing concerns of non-teaching staff. These plus some business updates on our decks. We are independent, fearless, and credible. Stay tuned after this. Now to our first story. The opposition New Patriotic Party says a decision by Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa that Ghana's Memorandum of Understanding with the United States on deportations does not require parliamentary approval at this stage lacks merit. This is after the Minister Ablakwa explained that the document is an MoU and not a binding treaty, placing it squarely within the executive's mandate. He stressed that established constitutional conventions permit such frameworks to proceed without immediate recourse to Parliament. But the NPP says such treaties must have parliamentary approval. Joining us now is Nana Ej Bafo, a lawyer and MP of Omensia South, and also a member of the Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. It's good to have you here, Nana Bafo, on the news deck. Now, let us understand, what is your stance basically concerning the decision by the Foreign Affairs Minister?
Thank you very much for having me on your program. My position is that, and the position of the minority is that Article 75 of the Constitution has been breached. It is clear that following the determination of the Supreme Court in the case of Henry Nana Boakye and Margaret Banfo versus the Attorney General, it was established that any international agreement or treaty, including but not limited to MoUs, should be submitted to Parliament for parliamentary approval. And so once it has not been done, which the minister has admitted, then the Constitution has been breached. And it's a very unfortunate happening, given the actors involved in this matter. You have the current Attorney General, who at the time was the Deputy Attorney General, and had personal conduct of the matter when he went to the Supreme Court. You have President Mahama, who at the time had failed to comply with Article 75 in respect of the Guantanamo Bay matter, for which the matter was sent to the Supreme Court. So when you have all these actors involved, we were hoping that there would not be a repetition of the matter. Once there's a repetition of the matter, you can only say it's an unfortunate situation. It ought not to have happened, but it is happening. It has happened. And it's a very sad situation that the respect that ought to be given to the Constitution is not being given.
In the light of your stance, are you saying basically that indeed he has flouted the Constitution, and what was the appropriate direction that should have gone before he coming out to voice those particular decisions? He said that indeed there have been over 40 MoUs on his decks, and he seems to is working within his mandate.
It doesn't change the fact that the Constitution has been breached. The fact that yesterday somebody chose not to send an MoU, whether or not it is true, it's another thing altogether. Because, I mean, it's sometimes difficult to take what Mr. Okudzeto-Ablakwa says, hook, line, and sinker. Sometimes you need to make sure it is worthy of credit, right? But as we speak, we don't know of any MoU which has not been sent to Parliament. We don't know. But even if there is, it doesn't change the fact that the Constitution has been breached.
Interesting. Now, I want to get from you, because he also said that These have been sent to the Attorney General, and also there has been review by cabinet as well. Does that necessarily give response to this accession?
No, again, it doesn't change the fact that the Constitution has been breached, and it even makes it worse. As I said, this is the reoccurrence, it's a playback of what happened in respect of the Guantanamo Bay matter. It's a playback, except that we have not all the actors are in this. In fact, the only actors who are not in this are the Gitmo detainees. But almost all the actors are involved in this matter. You have the United States of America being involved. You have President Mahama, who was the president at the time the Guantanamo Bay Agreement was signed. And then you have Mr. Dominic Ayeni, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, who was the Deputy Attorney General at the time. And so they couldn't have missed that. And therefore, when there has been a discussion of the sort on the subject at Cabinet, then it should have occurred to somebody that it required parliamentary approval. For them to have considered or thought that it doesn't require parliamentary approval, requires serious consideration. In any event, the NDC has 2/3 majority in Parliament. And so why is it that it wasn't taken to Parliament? It also speaks to a certain attitude to governance, which is a certain laissez-faire, or, somebody trying to be quite lax, in their approach to governance. So it speaks to their approach to governance too.
Mr. Buffer, I want to get a certain context from you as well. The minister said this decision was basically based on humanitarian grounds and not necessarily receiving any benefit from the United States due to the acceptance basically of humanitarians, of deportees from the U.S. And he also reiterated that hopefully the coming week there are going to be about 40 African deportees from the U.S. into Ghana. What do you make of this whole scenario?
Making decisions based on humanitarian grounds may be godly. However, it cannot override the need to comply with due process of law. And so it is no excuse. The countries where these persons may be coming from are countries that are equally peaceful as Ghana. Nothing stops them from being taken to their countries. Look, that even having been said, right, the sort of obligation being placed on Ghana, what is the nature of it? Are we able to contain or accommodate that obligation? That obligation potentially may outlive President Mahama. Will a future government be ready to accommodate it? Which is why there's the necessity for it to go to Parliament, so that by being given parliamentary approval, it is acknowledged that it is an obligation which the people of Ghana, through their representatives, have agreed to take upon themselves. That is the philosophy behind it. And so, if you sit down as a minister or as a government, discuss matters at Cabinet, and then proceed with it, okay, the fundamental question will be, in future, what happens?
All right, I want to get from you also, if the minister had not based his decision on humanitarian grounds, which other approach would have been quite legitimate for him to possibly accept? And would there have been any reputational damage or risks that at the moment Ghana may be associating themselves with this particular development from the U.S.?
The question will be, what reputational damage are we referring to? The United States of America, we suffer reputational damage in respect of the United States of America. Don't forget the United States of America is a democratic country set up by law. They also respect their laws. And I don't think United States of America will have a problem with Ghana saying it has to comply with its laws. In fact, it will be very surprising that the United States of America will think that Ghanaian law can be suspended just to accommodate their interests. Humanitarian-wise, the United States is not at war. It's not at war, right? It's a very peaceful country, more resourceful. It's most people's dream to be in the United States of America. And so, where is the humanitarian basis? Where is the humanitarian basis? Why would the U.S. want to return them at all costs? We've heard President Donald Trump frequently alluded to the fact that they are deporting criminals from their country. And so what sort of people are being brought to Ghana? Because if President Trump cannot accommodate criminals, right? Because that is what President Trump constantly says, that these people are criminals. They are deporting criminals who are, becoming a problem for the peace, safety, and security of the people, of the nationals of America or residents of America. Then why should it be Ghana taking these people on humanitarian grounds?
All right. Finally, I think that
we need to you see, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Okujeto-Ablakwa, I think President Mahama would have to take a critical look at the way he's handling himself, right? Because it is not just this. Even some comments he's making against some traditional allies of Ghana, it's as though he's setting down or he intends to put together a new foreign policy for Ghana, right, which might not be beneficial to the interest of this country. I'm not going to comment on it.
All right.
But in terms of the legal side of it, where is the humanitarianism in this? That somebody thinks that someone is a criminal, in his country. The presence of that person doesn't inure to the safety, security of the people of his country.
All right.
But you think it is humanitarianism.
I think that point is well reiterated here on the news desk. Thank you very much, Nana J. Bafo Iwab. He's a lawyer NMP from Minshill South and also a member of Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, speaking to us here on News Deck. Now, moving on to other development, the Ankobra River is dying and the government says it's war. After witnessing firsthand the shocking extent of pollution, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister has announced that the permanent military base will be stationed along the river to stop illegal miners and protect one of Ghana's most vital water bodies. Correspondent Inakia Kwansa has more in this report.
Pristia to Sangoma, where the Ankobra River stretches, is 190 kilometers. For the past 3.5 months, our main concentration has been on the land and then on the river. But I want to stress that our interest is on water bodies and forest reserve. We've done a lot of operation on the land and we have shifted now on the river.
What was meant to be an hour canoe ride on the Ankobra River turned into more than two, a journey that revealed the scars of illegal mining deep on the Ankobra River. The Land and Natural Resource Minister Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa joined the Western Region Security Council on Thursday to inspect Galamsey activities at first hand along the Ankobra River. Instead of a clear water, the river flowed thick and milky brown. Just minutes into the journey, the team encountered a Galamsey makeshift hub made of wooden and plastic structures, known as Chinese Town. Now, a Galamsey hub carved out of what was once a cocoa farmland. Women and children were left behind as miners fled at the sight of the delegation.
You see all this crowd right here. Nobody is planting any food. Everybody here is focused on destroying the water.
Further upstream, devastation spread wider. Hundreds of chamfans clogged the river. Pumps, pipes, and heap of sand lined the banks like monuments to destruction. So behind me is a pit dug by these illegal miners. Just few minutes walk from the Ankobra River. This is to remind us that this war is not something that we should just be playing around with.
Did you burn the excavators? Okay. can't they replace it? The people who are doing this have declared war on the people of Ghana, period. They are not simply looking for gold. They've decided to completely decimate the Ankobra River. And they don't care what happens to anybody else. I think this is one more reason why we have to put our money where our mouth is. And I hope I can bring the Minister of Finance, my good friend, here to understand that we need to mobilize all the security forces to stay here permanently because we are at war.
The minister hinted at plans to expand the current 100-meter buffer zone along river banks to 1 kilometer.
Yes, we are going straight to a conversation on the back of this, and we are being joined by the Media Relations Officer with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Parkwesi Shandov. Now, Parkwesi, it's good to have you here with us. I want to understand from you, how serious is the pollution of the Ankobra River, and what exactly did the minister see?
Well, the extent of devastation was one that could be described as profoundly horrible because, like the reports by Natalia Kwanzaa clearly indicated, what ordinarily was supposed to have been a clear passage of water was rather discolored and heavily filled with, of course, the proceeds from illegal mining activities. The minister witnessed it, and as always, he expressed his displeasure rather remarkably. And so what we are doing, or we're going to do to ensure that we're able to deal decisively with that situation is essentially what the minister clearly indicated, that now, effective now, there ought to be an instructive deployment of military personnel in a surveillance that would be uninterrupted. That is to say that they will stay there unabated until such a time when we can confidently say that we've been able to deal decisively with that particular situation.
So we see a firefighting approach to this particular Galamsey issue where the military goes there and they will eventually withdrawn subsequently. What is the assurance that such a decision will not happen again, basically based on what the minister lamented about?
I'm not sure about the withdrawal of any military personnel under this particular dispensation. Indeed, nobody in the military previously deployed has been withdrawn in this period of the government's administration. Maybe you are referring to a development that happened in the NPP's administration. But as of now, in this current dispensation, there has never been anything of that sort. And that is because of government's commitment to dealing with the menace of illegal mining. What is going to happen now, like I have earlier indicated, is that there's going to be a full-fledged, uninterrupted combative deployment to not only the Ankobra River, but indeed across all the 44 forest reserves in the country. Because clearly, Winston, from what we have observed, we are dealing with a breed of miners who are extremely recalcitrant and obstinate. And I mean, you understand the local Ghana language better, and so I'm sure I could import this proverb that is often said that Shitoni Nawa, Shitoni Josan, Loni Josan, sorry, Shitoni Nawa, Nakeyo. To wit, if a fish has a very uncomfortable odor, you are best eating it with pepper that is equally hot. And so, looking at the gravity of the situation, what we can do is to deploy an equally combative measure, and that is what the minister indicated. That is what we are truly committed to, and very soon that would be done and coordinated, of course, as always, by the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat.
Indeed, just as you described, this is not a kinky and fish discussion, but I want to get from you as well. How committed is the minister going to handle this? And we've seen he say that he's going to engage the finance minister in the next approach. What is the ministry doing to that?
Well, of course, the reason he roped in the finance minister was that if you are going to station military men at this particular location and other locations for a very long time, it will come with significant financial implications, and that is why that conversation with the finance minister would be had. Indeed, government is not even necessarily concerned about the cost implication when it comes to fighting illegal mining, because illegal mining is fighting us back. And therefore, if you're going to devote and vote a lot of resources to it, it is not a problem at all. The ministry would have that conversation accordingly. And we are also very hopeful that relevant disbursements will be made to ensure that we stick to our word, which is mounting uninterrupted military surveillance across all the water bodies and all the 44 forest reserves that have been impacted and besieged by the menace of illegal mining. Already, the Ghana Gold Board has supported handsomely. The chief executive officer this morning, speaking on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM, indicated that there is even more support that extends beyond the 5 million cedis cash, and then, of course, the 5 Toyota Hilux pickups. And so support is very important. Thankfully, government is committed to it, and that is why we'll see very commendable results as we progress.
Has a timeline been given to this particular approach to dealing with this illegal menace?
Winston, I did mention to you on Monday when we interacted that it will be difficult to assign any definitive timelines.
I mean, timeline to commence the positioning of these police personnel around the water bodies.
Okay, so that's the context. So the proposition is now on the table. The conversation has been had, and as I speak to you, indeed, I'm even not communicating from the capital. We are currently in the Western region as part of the minister's mining tour. And so as soon as we get to Accra, we should be able to give word on when exactly the deployment is going to be done. But on paper, the structure has been drawn, and I can tell you authoritatively as the one who speaks for NIMOS that the structure for the deployment has been concluded by NIMOS, and therefore by next week, we should communicate effectively on when exactly this particular deployment will be done. But it will be very soon, that I can assure you, because like the minister said, it's a war and we cannot afford to rest on our laurels.
We'll surely be keenly following that development as well. Parkwesi Chandov is the Media Relations Officer with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, speaking to us on development at the Ankobro River, where there's countless pollution happening there. Now, moving on, the teachers that's at the Nat Hall right now, where parents and guidance have gathered to have issues of the computerized school selection and placement system resolved. My colleague Collins Frimpong is there and joins us with more updates. Collins, what can you report?
At the Nato in Accra here, we've seen quite a number of parents and students who have trooped into the auditorium trying to secure placement and also rectify issues concerning their placements. The information that we have, according to the Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Clement Apak, indicate that 107,509 students who qualified to be placed into various senior high schools across the country were not able to get automatic placements because of the high demand for Category A schools. So they have to conduct self-placements. And the process actually started yesterday with regional and all the district educational offices serving as resolution centers for these places. And about 590,000 of qualified students, 480,000 of them, about this number, already have secured automatic placement, representing 82%, and the remaining 18.2, as I stated earlier, the 107,000 will have to battle for a place in senior high schools. But the information that this morning we have also gathered is that right from 7 a.m. or right from the time that they started the self-placement system, they opened the portal right from yesterday. About 35,000 of these people have already secured automatic placement. But let's get more of this. We got here around 6:40 a.m. today at the NATWO. When before the auditorium was opened, we saw a lot of parents, hundreds of people with their children already here to ensure that they get placement. Let's see how the situation is going for them. Daddy, please, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
What's your name?
Marco Ferramponson.
So far, how's the process going?
It's okay. It's going okay.
How long have you been here?
Almost about 45 minutes ago.
We know that the role that the queue that you are in is about TVET. But tell me, what really is the issue that you came here with?
We wanted to change. You get boarding. Where you are staying, we want boarding, but they give us day. So we wanted to change it to the boarding.
So your ward wanted boarding, but he or she had a day.
Yes, please.
But we know that the placement during the school selection, they had the opportunity to select some day schools. Is it that the day school that she got is not part of the school that you selected?
We didn't select that day school. That one is not part of our selection. They just give that one to us.
How long is that particular day school from where you are staying?
We are in Ponkatamanso. Then it's Ayawaso West. So it's too far. We take almost about 3 hours before we get to the school. That's why I wanted to change it.
I'm grateful to you.
Okay, thank you.
Quick one, let me engage you. Are you a student? Are you also affected?
Yes, please.
What's your name?
Christopher Swamponsang.
So far, have you been able to access the portal?
Yes, please.
And how was it?
It was good.
What issue did you bring here?
Some of the schools they gave me, I didn't choose it. But I want a boarding, but they gave me this, so I want to change it back to a boarding school. That's why I came here.
How long have you been here?
Let's say 45 minutes. Not that long here.
Thank you. Right, so this is the situation. So if you can see me, right, this particular queue is for those who are affected or they have anything to do with technical and vocational education. So these people here are people who are trying to rectify issues with regards to their TVET schools. And the other 3 queues here to their general issues that they also are hoping that they will rectify the situation. At the NATO here, the secretariats have set up 4 tables, and the 4 tables, the one on my left far end there is for TVET. So they are ensuring that any issue pertaining to TVET or technical education, they will address that. And the remaining 3 too, they will also address general issues. So this is the situation here. Over close to 500 people already have been here, but I must say that they are trying to address the situation, because early on when we came here, we saw huge numbers over here, that the situation was quite terrible when the authorities have not started the process yet. But let's try and engage more. Daddy, you've been here since morning. How long have you been here?
Oh, I was about 3 hours now. Yeah, but one thing is that they are on our way going. They are, if you see, you can see how the system is going. You know, we are playing to that.
What issue did you come with?
Come again.
What issue did you come with?
I come with the replacement of the school, because I haven't got a school to my child, so I was here to get a school to.
We know the GES and the Ministry of Education ensured that the portal was opened last 2 days when they issued the statement. I don't know if you've been able to try the system yourself.
Oh yeah. One thing is that initially, you know, some schools came on, but as I'm speaking currently, you know, we are checking on now. It's not going through. That's why I'm here to recheck. So what is the problem? That's why I'm here.
But when you came here, have you gotten any explanation of that?
No, I haven't got to the destination. So if I go to the destination, they will explain further to me.
I'm grateful to you. Sir, please, good morning.
Fine morning.
What's your name?
So that was my colleague Collins bringing us a report from the NATO, where several parents and teachers and even individuals and students are trying to secure placement for their wards into various senior high school, and that is the development that will surely be monitoring, bring you updates on our subsequent bulletin. Now let's do some NPP politics here. Flagbearer hopeful Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum has intensified his campaign, asking delegates to give him the nod to represent the party in the 2028 elections. The party's presidential primaries will be held in January, and Dr. Duchum says he is the right man to return the party to power. In studio, I have with me the spokesperson for Dr. Duchum, is the person of Yao Opoku-Mensah, who is already seated. Now let's go straight to the conversation. Mensah, it's good to have you here.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me.
Great. One thing that most Ghanaians want to always see or hear, especially within the party, is the kind of message that a representative who desires to basically lead a party is trying to sell to the delegates. What is Educhum's strategy and what message is he selling now?
Okay, let me say a good morning to yourself and to our lovely viewers, and to extend Dr. Educhum's greetings to you and to the general public, especially party members. Now, the message is very simple. Now, if you've analyzed the development trajectory of this country, you realize that successive governments have contributed to our socio-economic development. But one critical aspect which is still missing is the ability to do away with poverty in our system. Every program, irrespective of government that comes in, John Mahama 1, John Mahama 2, President Kufuor, straight to Kwame Nkrumah, etc., have all contributed. Yes, they've all contributed significantly to the progress of this country. But the critical aspect is still missing, and that is the missing link that Dr. Yosei Educhum has identified. A generational thinker, a generational believer who has lived in poverty, be able to come out of poverty and therefore see a fine opportunity to be able to lift Ghanaians from that poverty line to where he has got into. And that is the kind of leader that the current generation needs. Somebody who resonates well with the youth. The youth are looking for opportunity to be able to lift themselves out of poverty so that it will have a reflection on their family as well. And therefore, you look at the message of all the aspirants, then you get to understand that where is it heading towards? What is the critical ingredient that is needed to be able to lift ourselves out of that space? And that is why Dr. Yosei Educhum's message is anchored on prosperity, prosperity, prosperity. And one critical aspect has got thing to do with identifying poverty as a local element. And therefore, we need to devise means, which is locally done, locally implemented, to be able to lift people out from the poverty line. And we are not even looking at poverty line. We are looking at lifting people to the wealth line so that I will have a dignified life. I get that experience. I get that educational fundamental end that puts me at that edge to be able to compete with anybody on this planet Earth. So that my peer...
What is the end goal? Basically, you mentioned taking people from the poverty line. We've seen your previous government. You just came from...
yeah, sure.
And some will say, if you couldn't have done it before, why is this promise hinged on towards the future? Because if my bypass, which was in your domain, you couldn't do much, what is the essence that you do?
That's a good question. Now, if you've studied Dr. Yosei Educhum from his days at the education ministry, you got to realize his preach on STEM education. That wasn't just any means of any education minister advocating for a certain policy line. He was looking at how do we engineer ourselves out of poverty. And one critical thing that we need not to get our attention off has got to do with using education as that ladder to climb up in ensuring that you do away with poverty. Now, how do you do it? You give that critical skill needed for the individual to build their own potential. At the end of the day, every talent, every skill should have a merit in the job market. And not just in the job market, but a meaningful paying job. And the ability to create a system whereby the young men and women in this country with that inner built potential will be able to create their own sustaining job. Mind you, my brother, in 1957, South Korea, Singapore were nowhere near us in terms of resources, in terms of development, etc. But they had a clearer path of understanding and ensuring that they are able to develop their country and their people. What did they do? They begin to engineer themselves out of poverty by introducing that advocacy element Doctor has been preaching all this while. STEM education, STEM education, STEM education. Because it is through that you get to have that innovators. It is through that you get to have that doer people who can use their own internal skill to be able to develop something which will be beneficial to them and the country as well. We cannot still go out there and be begging South Korea and Singapore for us to feed our people.
You've emphasized poverty as the greatest threat facing Ghana, and that is something the minister, your flagbearer hopeful is looking forward to dealing with in the first 100 days, apart from STEM, which you made mention of, what other area or policy does he have in place that would necessarily bring the change that the nation is looking forward to? Okay,
so now I'll still again take you to our prosperity centers that we seek to create within districts and constituencies along the country. For example, you are within the business field. Have you ever heard that Ghana Revenue Authority has gone into Makola just to engage the traders and asking them, what do we do differently to support the trading or the business that you are doing? Except they go in there with padlocks and locking people's offices and spaces because they've not paid their taxes. Now, on that path, where Ghana Revenue Authority comes in to give you that technical support, comes to give you that technical skill, or give you some soft element that you can add up to be able to expand.
The mandate of the Ghana Revenue Authority to do. There are agencies within government that are supposed to enforce that law.
Yes, that agency needs a paradigm shift from what they are traditionally known to do. Once you take it from me, you are taking the money. So what are you also giving me? So your interest should not only be taking the money away without giving me anything. Once you come, you realize that my revenue keeps falling. What do you do to help me? If you are not putting that narration on the table, then it means that whatever you are focusing on has got to do with you alone. And that is what is affecting our GDP growth. Once the people are able to trade freely, innovate freely, do something for themselves, it naturally translates into your GDP element. And we wouldn't even have the chance to sit around the table and be looking at exchange rate differentials where importers are crying, exporters are crying. Government says once it drops, my revenue also drops. Then what it tells you that we are not doing something right. And that element is what Dr. Yosea Duchum has been able to identify. And therefore, we see across the length and breadth of this country, every place that we go do have a unique opportunity to create something for themselves. It therefore requires that leadership which is missing. And that leadership which is missing is what Dr. is in to fix. And once we're able to fix in that leadership element, I believe you, trust you me, Ghana will start building that building blocks that is needed, that element that is needed to ensure that our socioeconomic development do not remain stagnant as we see it.
It's interesting. What do you make of those who say Dr. Duchum basically seems to be underestimated in this campaign and also possibly being tagged the underdog?
You know what? We are focused on our mandate, what we are seeking to do. The description of whether if it's an underdog or whatever is not what we are looking at. Now, we have a clearer path. We have a clearer agenda. We have a clearer understanding of how the socioeconomic development of this country should be. And therefore, any element, any destructive element that will be played around do not affect us. We are focused on the ball. We are focused on ensuring that we put out a dedicated understanding of how the challenges of this country can be done away with. NPP is looking for a presidential candidate, a potential president in 2028. And therefore, that individual should have that ability to be able to identify the loopholes in the system, offer possible solutions, offer not just solutions, but practical solutions. Somebody who has had that experience, live it, worked around it, and be able to save out from the system is what is needed to fix that end. And therefore, that is why Dr. Yosea Duchum's leadership is of vital importance to you and me, not to only the NPP, but across the length and breadth of this country. Dr. Yosea Duchum should have that mandate, lead the NPP, and take power in 2028.
Has to him contend within the NPP.
Exactly the point.
So basically, I want to get from you, I heard him on some platform, to put it in better context, that is ready to go boot for those who come against him, basically his reputation as he's campaigning for the flag bearership race. Now, it's interesting to note that there have been flyers going around social media about the 10 cents of Duchum. He responded accordingly, but I want to get from you, what is your take on and this bickering that is ongoing between candidates?
It's quite interesting. At times when I hear some of these and begin to read some of them, I laugh off. Now, mentioning 10 cents, Jesus Christ came to die for us. On the cross of Calvary, he sacrificed himself. That blood, that atonement, has atoned our sins. And I don't know whoever is standing somewhere and begin to do that judgment, whatever. Fortunately for us, they say he has only 10 cents. That's only 10 cents. And we know our Redeemer is up there and is watching. He's the only automator of that judgment. But that's aside. These, we do anticipate it. We anticipated, and I myself issued out that caution to the general public that definitely people will want to come after Dr. Yosei Aduchum. We saw fake news published online against his name that is attacking our former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Subsequently, some senior officials of the Ghana Education Service, then some senior officials, former, i.e. the Deputy Director General in charge of quality and access from the Ghana Education Service, made fascinating claims on live TV that the success of free SHS should be given to somebody. The wrongs in free SHS then should be brought to the doorstep of Dr. Yosei Aduchum.
He said that basically they shouldn't put everyone together and box them. That they
before that, before that narration, that your colleague on that platform put it to him that in 2024, 2nd November, Mo Ibrahim told the world that when we talk of quality education, Ghana is second on the continent of Africa, just after Tunisia. And therefore, shouldn't we credit Dr. Yosei Aduchum with that? The person said, no, we should credit to the president. So he should tell you the mindset. Subsequently, then we saw another flyer within the media space, bandied all around, etc. So it gives us a clear understanding what others are doing, because they cannot catch up with the heat. And Dr. Yosei Aduchum, whether we like it or not, per what he stands for, somebody who is able to resonate well, link up with the ordinary Ghanaian, is the man that has put himself. And we NPP people should be so happy that such a fine gentleman, such a fine brain, such an experience, having successes in other countries and establishing himself in this country, offers himself to help us in our socio-economic development. And this is what we want to do. That's a big question that I believe every well-meaning Ghanaian is asking. So that cannot be a destructive element that will distract us from our message to the delegates. And believe you me, on 31st of January, 2026, the good people of my party, the New Patriotic Party, will do all of us good. Elect Dr. Yosei Aduchum to lead the party, and eventually, that percentage-wise, between the NPP and the NDC, that 9% in there will be the win for Dr. Yosei Aduchum to add up to the fortunes of the NPP so that we can form government in 2028. So we are not distracted.
I will have the deliberate conversation on this, but we'll do that another time as well. Ya Opokumensa is the spokesperson for Dr. Yosei Aduchum, speaking on his behalf as they go into this flagbearership for leadership of the party. Now, moving away from politics, yes, indeed, and we'll try as much as possible to bring you up-to-date conversation here on the news desk. Let's take a break. When we come back, we have more news. Stay tuned.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Imdake, has welcomed the Bank of Ghana's decision to cut the policy rate from 25% to 21.5%. He says the reduction is a positive step that will help ease the cost of credit for businesses and stimulate industrial growth. Speaking to Joy Business at the Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition, Dr. Imdake noted that access to affordable financing remains one of the biggest challenges facing local manufacturers.
The Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition, President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Imdake, told Joy Business the decision will help manufacturers access cheaper financing and boost production.
Seriously, yes, we did. And I think I wish, like Oliver Twist, would have been a 19. But I presume the governor and his team have done significantly well over the period, close to 600 percentage points down, and now around 21%. The next stage is that we believe the inflation will trickle down a little more to urge him in the next quarter to do further. Whilst that is going on, we want to see the T-bills also responding, and that will lead to the lending rates to our various enterprises also bouncing back. So the non-performing loans will reduce. The non-performing loans has a functionality with high interest rate. So when there's default rate, you see the non-performing loan also going high. Our prayer now is that this will also reflect in the lower non-performing loans and increase productivity, borrowing and then productivity, and eventually job creation. So it's a welcoming position, but we still expect more considering the stability we've attained till now. We know they are concerned because of the issues like the tariff rate coming up. So what is it going to impact on inflation? Now government seeks to do a lot of disbursement and payment of contractors. They're focusing all this. So it's in the right direction where the policy rate is.
The Association of Ghana Industries is also calling on commercial banks to reflect the policy cut in their lending rate so that businesses can truly feel the impact. The Bank of Ghana says the decision was driven by easing inflationary pressures and the need to stimulate economic recovery.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has assured government and financial sector players that it will develop policy initiatives aimed at making funds available for companies under the 24-hour economy drive. Head of Banking Supervision at the Bank of Ghana, Ismail Adam, gave the assurance when he spoke on behalf of the Central Bank Governor at a roundtable with bank directors and senior managers. Here's more in this report.
The engagement with the banks forms part of consultation processes by the 24-hour plus Economy Secretariat to have all critical stakeholders aligned with the policy. According to the head of supervision at the Bank of Ghana, Ismail Adam, the central bank has given approval for the Ghana incentive-based risk system for agricultural lending to use earth funding as collateral for businesses to be able to lend. He therefore declared the central bank's commitment to formulate policies that will support commercial banks to make funds available for the 24-hour policy.
The Bank of Ghana has granted approval for guarantee provided by GISEL to be accepted as collateral for lending to agribusinesses. This initiative was aimed at boosting GISEL's credibility as credit guarantee provider and make credit guarantee scheme more appealing for financial institutions to rely on. And I'm sure going forward, when DBG also start providing guarantees, the same protocol will be extended to DBG. In conclusion, the Chair, let me reiterate that the Bank of Ghana is keen on supporting this lateral policy by the Government of Ghana. As indicated earlier, there is a bidirectional relationship between the real sector and the banking sector. Hence, the success of the 24-hour economy will ultimately boost the banking sector through increased utilization of financial services by the industry players.
Chief Executive for the Ghana Association of Banks, John Iwa, welcomed the idea and assured of more support to the private sector.
We are very keen to be the oil that fuels the program. Obviously, it takes two to tango, so we need private sector to also come on board. And as you can see, this is not a government program per se. Government is drawing the framework, but it's going to be private sector led, and as banks we like when it's private sector, so we can deploy our capital and liquidity to finance and also to mobilize private capital to ensure that the program is successful in the end.
All right, that's it for this segment. It's back to you, Winston.
I like your swag this morning.
Enjoy your weekend. I hope you have lots of fun.
Very necessary. That's Daryl Kwa bringing us the business update. And for more business and other news, visit myjoyonline.com/business and any other political news. My name is Winston Taki. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your days. Bye-bye.